Today we're going to go over some of the basic concepts in music theory. First of all, we're working with the bass clef over here. This is based on the note of F. Second, you'll see is three flats. One is on B flat, one is on E flat, one is on A flat. That's our E signature, and it means that we're in E flat major. Okay, the next item over here is going to be our key signature. It's 4 beats per measure, and each beat is based on a quarter note. Okay, that's what the 4/4 means. And then we have whole notes over here, so I'm going to go over each of these, and we have a little riff for you that I made up. Okay. So these are whole notes. Remember, there are also whole rests. So let's say we start out with 3 whole notes in the 4th measure. It'll be just a whole rest. Here we go. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 2 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 3 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 4 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so as you can see, the rest you don't play anything. Now the half notes are based on, so that takes up all 4 beats. Half notes take up half the amount, so that's 2 beats. And 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 3 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 4 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and the quarter notes are played every beat. So they take it 1 beat each. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 2 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 3 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 4 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so there I just put in 3/4 rests to give you an idea of that. Then we come to 8th notes, right? So 8th notes take up a half a beat each. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 2 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 3 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 4 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so that's introducing a couple rests with them. Finally, we have 16th notes. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so the reason why I'm going, and there's associated rests that equal a 16th note, there's 16th rests. So in this example, let's see, I have 2 and 3 E and 4 E and E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 and 1 E. So I'm just reading off this top line right over here. So we had the whole notes. That was E and B played together as a chord. And then we came up to these half notes. And I'm using the interval of 3 and 5 on that. Okay. And then, so I just wanted to show you that. And then we come up with the 8th notes. And I have an 8th rest here. So we're going to listen to this and see exactly how this one sounds. I hope you can see that there. And this is the 8th note exercise. 0, 4, 2, 1, 2, 4, 1, 0, 4, 2, 1, 2, 4, 1. As you can see, I was putting in an 8th note where I was putting in an 8th note on the 6th. The 6th note I replaced with the 8th rest. And so there's the space there. Now, whole notes look like a hat sitting on top of the D string. Those are half rests. Whole rests is like the hat is hanging below the D string. I think that's about it that I have for you today. The reason why I'm doing this all is I encourage you to work with a metronome, because I've heard my fellow performers over at open mics, and some of them don't have a really good sense of timing, or what measure they're in. It's hard to tell when somebody plays a cover of the Rolling Stones. You can't always get what you want. I mean, you can't forget that song, right? But they play it so badly that the rhythm is all screwed up on it. And I don't want rhythm to screw you up, because you're a bass player, and bass players are half the rhythm section. We're half the equation, right? And the drummer's the other half. We lay the foundation for the whole building to be built. By the way, we're going at, let's see, looks like 76 beats per minute on that. So as you can see, just take this kind of slowly. I don't want you to go all the way up to 100 beats per minute yet, but we're getting a feel for all these things. The 16th notes, what I like to do with 16th notes is I like to break them up with 16th rests and see how many I can throw in there to come up with a rhythm that's so quick it's almost subconscious, if you know what I mean. So it seems subconscious to me, because you're only taking out, like, let's say you have 16 16th notes in a measure, right? And you take 2 out, that's only leaving you 14 notes. Well, which of the 4 notes are standing? Is it within the first beat that you put in a rest, or do you put it in the second beat, or the third beat, or the fourth beat? So that's why I like to go into the 16th notes. The smallest unit that I would like to teach, because 30-second notes, I don't even know if I can do them. The 16th notes are fast enough, and I wish you the most blessed day in the world. I just wanted to cover this because, boy, I can't recognize some of these songs until the lyrics come out, and I'm like, you're trying to pass that on as the Rolling Stones? All right, so. And that's all for today. Thank you.